I have the best news ever.
What? Donald Trump died?
Second best news.
The vice president died?
Okay, third best news.
That Elon Musk died?
Okay, no. Nobody died. My best friend's getting married.
Which one is it?
Taylor Swift! Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce got engaged!
Let me just play this for you right now. Now, this is Matthew, the whistleblower from TPUSA, talking about he spoke to someone who's still inside TPUSA, and she had a conversation with Tyler Boyer, who, let's remember, was the COO, who Charlie was replacing because he found, my speculation is he found financial chicanery and he wanted to get to the bottom of it, and he knew Tyler Boyer was behind it, so he got rid of Tyler Boyer as the CEO right before. But now he's going to tell you of a meeting that his friend who's on the inside had with Tyler Boyer specifically about Charlie not being on board with Israel, but TPUSA being 100% Zionist. Let's listen.
My friend, when she was in his office, said to him, what is it that you have? Why are you so against Candace Owens, the Israel cause, etc.? She's brave. She's bold. She'll ask Tyler Boyer right to his face because she wants to know what is the big deal about not supporting Israel. That's when he shut the door, pulled her in, and said, "Listen, I'm a Zionist. Candace Owens is a Black conservative who wants to be relevant in this movement, and she's doing whatever she can at all costs to stay relevant." So that to me says a lot. That is proof. And it's in the text that I sent you to, Stu, of where she confirmed, like, yes, he pulled me into his office and said that to me.
So that's been my suspicion all along, that Charlie had turned against the Zionist project, Israel, the greater Israel. He had turned against them, turned down their money, and he had lots of powerful Jewish donors who were Zionists and Christians who were Zionists. And once he turned against them, they needed desperately to get Turning Point USA back on the Zionist train. And that's exactly what this enables, because Erica's 100% Zionist. Tyler Boyer, you just heard, is 100% Zionist. They're all those pastors, Mikey McCoy's dad, Rob McCoy, and they're all Zionists, 100%.
And liars.
And liars. They're 100% on that. They're liars and Zionists, and those are kind of redundant when you say that. But and so now, and if they weren't on the Zionist train, all their funding would dry up. Charlie had already turned down over $100 million from Benjamin Netanyahu, and all their donors were pulling their money out left and right because they got wind of Charlie not supporting Israel and Zionism. And so they had to get rid of Charlie, or else their whole organization was going to lose their money. And as we find out now from Wolves and Finance, that there's lots of financial chicanery and shell companies involved inside of TPUSA, and so Charlie was so it was all gonna go away. Their money, multi-million dollar grift was gonna go away because Charlie was going to divorce TPUSA from the Zionist project and Israel, and they couldn't have that because then they have nothing. And plus, they wanted all the things you said. Trump was getting ready for this big neocon militaristic buildup and takeover of Venezuela, Greenland, bombing Iran, Yemen, whoever else, Cuba, Colombia, all this stuff he's getting ready to do. And they knew Charlie wasn't going to go for it. So there was all these, but that's the main reason for the people inside TPUSA to want to get rid of Charlie and cover up who really killed him, was because they knew if they exposed who really killed him, all their Zionist donorship money would go away, and they would have no longer would have an organization. And that's always been my suspicion. And I think stuff like this proves it. What do you have to say?
I couldn't disagree with anything that you just said. Yes. Yeah. Exclamation point on all of that. There are hundreds of millions of dollars at play here. And when you have somebody like Erica Kirk, for example, who her entire life, she has tried to be famous and be in front of the camera. She starred in movies, by the way, on Fort Huachuca, where she played the role of an assassin on a rooftop with a rifle. She's been Miss USA Arizona. She has been in CIA training videos. I mean, this woman has always, she was on national television dating and drinking, although be it she'll tell Barry Weiss that she doesn't drink, she doesn't believe in that, and she didn't date. Does she not realize that she was on national television? I mean, how could she thinks you're an idiot? She thinks that everybody is really stupid. And all of these people think that you're really stupid. But this goes a lot bigger. I think this was, yesterday I just asked myself, how high does the ladder go here? And I think it really does go all the way to the Oval Office and to the Trump administration and to Mar-a-Lago. I think that Trump personally, this goes to him, and this goes to the people that Trump brought to Charlie Kirk. These are all the same players. There are several of them. They control private equity. They control the central banks. They are the big donors. And people like Tyler Boyer and people like Mikey McCoy and Erica Kirk, the people who are after the money, the people who want to be in the club, they want to hobnob, they want to rub elbows with them, they want to be invited to their $10,000 a plate Mar-a-Lago fundraising dinners, which was a whole nother thing. They want to be involved with this. They want to have the fame and the notoriety and the power. They crave it. They have to have it. It's innately in them that they have to have this. And when they saw that being threatened, and they saw Charlie Kirk standing on his, you can go to Cooking Channel Instagram pages and you will find stuff about this control structure and this power apparatus from Israel and from the Zionist cause and from the Greater Israel cause. You can see that pressure everywhere. And you can see, if you go to the comment sections on anybody's feed, on any platform across the entire internet, no matter the subject, you will find this as a talking point. There's no way that Charlie could have avoided this, especially when he's working in the most Zionist organization, that if he were going to be a man of character, conviction, values, principles, that when he learned of this, there was no way that he could avoid confronting it. And I really do believe, just by all of the circumstantial evidence and physical, all of the video evidence, all of the historical precedent, all of the previous relationships and associations, it's very evident to me, and I thoroughly believe this until somebody can prove otherwise, that Charlie Kirk really genuinely, authentically was having this real life kind of awakening in the same way that a lot of people have since October 7th. He was seeing this conversation everywhere, and he looked into it. And you don't have to look far. But when you are insulated, and when you are Charlie Kirk, and you've reached that level, and you have these handlers, and you have multiple phones, and you're being dragged from this college campus to that meeting with the president, to this planning meeting with TP Action, and this one with TP Faith, and this one with Turning Point USA, and you are stretched thin, you don't go looking. People have to bring things to you. People have to make you aware of these things. Well, there was no way to avoid this one. For him, for anybody, there's no way to avoid this conversation, no matter what side of this issue you sit on, whether you think I'm just crazy and a conspiracy theorist and I'm hate-filled, whatever. If that's your position, fine, but you can't avoid the conversation. And so Charlie, when it came down to it, and he probably did a lot of research, he was a brilliant guy. He was really smart, very well articulated, well-read. You could tell all these things about him. And when he looked into this, there was just no way to avoid it. But these people knew that if he continues down, this is why they were saying in these text messages, quote, we're very concerned. This is why they were very concerned that Charlie Kirk was about to, quote unquote, go ballistic. And it was on these things. And, it's not just Venezuela and it's not just Iran. We are talking about right now military action that will have the United States, the American war empire, on behalf of Israel's objectives. There's no way to skirt around that, at war with all of the BRICS nations.
Right.
And, I've said this before, is it's like, there's no way to get around the fact that BRICS, although be it first and foremost as an economic alliance, you can't get around the military component of this when you're dealing with superpowers like China and Russia. And I don't even know, quite honestly, we spent 20 years in Afghanistan and ended up handing all of our surplus military equipment and everything else right back to the Taliban. They're in control again. So to think that we could somehow take Iran, I don't know about that. I've seen Iranian, military propaganda videos. I've seen that. I know how these people train.
We couldn't even exactly. We couldn't even take Afghanistan.
No. And remember what happened in Vietnam? Imagine, before a lot of people don't want to talk about this. Just before we went in the middle of the night with, some U.S. military contingent accompanied, I guess, by federal law enforcement agents to kidnap that country's president in the Western Hemisphere, a sovereign nation in the Western Hemisphere, and bring this nation's leader to the SDNY. That's a whole nother detour. But Before we did that, you know, they were considering like a real campaign to go in there, and they still are, by the way. If Paul Singer writes that check, and if Delcy Rodriguez doesn't do exactly as Paul Singer wants her to do with his Citgo oil, we'll be back into Venezuela. Can you imagine fighting in the jungle against these people? And here's what people don't want to talk about. There are videos that you can find, if you know where to look, of these Venezuelans who are training together, they're arming together, they have militias. There are millions of them that have buried themselves and entrenched themselves on every street all throughout and in the jungles of Venezuela. And they have said, we will oppose militaristically, we will physically, we will kinetically oppose any kind of American invasion, which may be why they did it the way that they did and went in and just got Maduro and said, hey, we just want to show the leadership here that we're about business and we mean that, and we're going to pressure these people through other kind of economic sanctions or a military blockade, whatever it might be. But can you imagine? We're going to fight with Venezuela. We're going to fight with the same, by the way, situation. All of the American men that were cut to pieces in rice paddies in Vietnam, all of the men that we lost in that war, and now we're talking about Venezuela, guerrilla warfare in Colombia and in Cuba. I mean, we are stretched so thin already that we can't protect or choose not to protect our own borders and instead protect the countries that hate us. But simultaneously to all of this guerrilla warfare that we would be going through in the jungle, similar and akin to Vietnam, we're now squaring off against these countries in the Middle East. We're squaring off against Russia. We're hijacking their oil tankers. We're hijacking Chinese oil tankers. We're taking them to hundreds of millions of dollars in oil and just poking the bear everywhere. While Miriam Adelson just keeps on shoving cash at Donald Trump, saying that she'll give him another $250 million if he decides to run for a third term.
Well,
then he made the comment about a fourth term. I mean, all of this is stuff that, Jimmy, I am 100% certain Charlie Kirk would be, quote, going ballistic over.
I agree with you. Let